It is 4:32 in the night. With a dull bang, he sucks down the steel bars and tears the head off the body. Seconds later, the jerry cans bang and the crowd shouts, "To the monster!" Also, a 17-year-old Englishman stands in the back and watches. But he is not in a party mood. He shouts at the art of macabre spectacle. He said decades later that the experience still torments him today. It was Christopher Lee, who, like the rest of the people around him, should not know yet that this is the last public institution in France that he has just seen. Eugen Weidmann was born in Frankfurt am Main in 1908. Since early childhood, he has been ordering the customers of the restaurants of his parents. He was also caught stealing in the gymnasium and in the outdoor pool. For this reason, his mother was admitted to an orphanage at the age of 16, where he was ironically released after he was caught stealing. He emigrated to Canada, where he betrayed his employer and was deported from the country. Back in Germany, he had the desire to become a taxi driver. That's why his father bought him a car. But instead of being a taxi driver, he used the car to kidnap a banker in Sachsenhausen. But he refused and had to go to prison for 5 years. Instead of being guided by the path of improvement at this time, Weidmann used the stay in prison as a career leap, because he was supposed to meet 3 of his future accomplices there. Barely released, they decided to rent a house near Paris in France to kidnap rich tourists and then steal. But here, too, the first kidnapping failed again. But they were not found by the police. The second time, it finally worked out with the kidnapping. The dancer Jeanne de Corvain lost her life on July 21, 1937 and was buried in the garden of the rented house. The travel checks she found were exchanged for cash. The second murder took place on September 3 of the same year. Weidmann had a chauffeur drive him to the courthouse only to shoot him in the back of the head and steal the car. Later, on October 4, he lured Jeanne in the basement through a job offer into a cave where he killed and starved her. Just 2 years later, the next murder. He met the young theatre producer Rochelle Leblond, because he was promised an investment in his performances. Instead, Weidmann shot him in the back of the head and took his wallet. The next murder took place on November 20 at one of the accomplices he had met in prison. Then his next shot hit Raymond Lasomba, a real estate agent with whom he visited a house. He stole his car and his wallet. In December, he was arrested for shooting at the police. He then confessed to all the murders and was sentenced to death on March 31, 1939 with one of his accomplices. On the day of the execution, there was a people's festival. About 10,000 spectators had arrived to participate in the execution. At night it was daytime, restaurants remained open and recorded record sales. Even in Weidmann's prison cell, the screams of the drunk were heard. Weidmann also knew that the screams of joy were his death. On the other hand, he had received countless love letters from women over the past few months. What he will not find out is that in a few minutes women will fall on his bleeding body to drink their handkerchiefs with his blood. As a reminder, when the fall boy was dropped, some women reacted hysterically. The rest let champagne corks pop. Despite a ban, the execution was photographed and secretly filmed from a neighboring house. The pictures went around the world. The behavior of the people was so scandalous that the then president immediately banned all public executions. Only on September 10, 1977, the fall boy was dropped behind closed doors for the last time.